It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Obiajulu Ugbo. You look really nice.
Dr. Mariah, how are you doing today?
You look very classy.
You have to get used to the name. Dr. Mariah, how are you doing today?
How are you doing, Dr. BC?
I'm doing amazing.
Well, you look very classy today.
Thank
Something
you.
Going on with you.
Don't I always
It's
look
just
classy?
joy, but extra classy.
I'm
Just
taking care
joy
of myself.
radiating all around
I'm
you.
intentional. There's an experiment I'm doing that you have to find a way to feel forward. So you don't wait for the good things to happen before you start feeling like it has happened. So I've been doing it for like 2 weeks now, and everybody around me is noticing the difference. I'm going to be using it in my care mentorship program. So, but I like to try it first so that I can give you firsthand. Thank you so much. But today is my daughter's birthday.
Yay! Which one of them?
The little baby. She's 7 years old today. God bless her. She's an amazing, amazing daughter. If I need anybody to get anything done in that house, she's the one I put in charge.
Mommy's girl.
She's very dedicated. She goes to school. She comes back. She saves from her pocket money every day. Her piggy bank is full. Everybody's envying her in the house. Like, she's so diligent. When I'm packing products, the hairs, the clothes, she'll be there. She'll be labeling. She just wants to.
Little business.
I just love her. Yeah, I just love her. And she looks like me.
Interestingly, I was watching our video just yesterday. The Christmas video we did.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm all of them were there dancing. And I was just like, oh, look at these kids, they're so grown. That video for a long time, you know, we're going to be watching it. How you doing?
I'm fine, but I'm stressed with Lagos traffic. You know, I mentioned yesterday somebody should, control traffic at the Mile 2 ramp into Oshodi Expressway or Apapa Oshodi Expressway. It's important because we can't continue to suffer. The traffic is unnecessary because the yellow buses would not conform. The roads are blocked now. They're working on every area of the road. Also, the same thing is happening. I don't know why the contractors on the Badagry Expressway decide to shut down traffic all the way to Vaux. So people are stuck in unnecessary traffic. This is the second week counting. I have been finding ways to get to work. It's totally unnecessary. We can do things better. We can open up avenues for people. We can make life easy. It doesn't have to be like this.
I need to have a lamentation this morning because I didn't get enough sleep. I mean, for like between 2 a.m. and 5, I just couldn't sleep. And what was I thinking of? I was thinking of the NDLEA matter. I was so heartbroken because we had this, the spokesperson come here yesterday telling us the plan to burn, was it Monday he came? Telling us the plan to burn off all the cocaine, the biggest hit Nigeria's ever done, where they were able to arrest these barons and seize the cocaine, and they got civil society, they got even the arrested barons to witness the burning. They got even the DEA from the US, they have a certificate from the court authorizing them to burn with only 24 cocaine. Just for Nigerians to have this loose statement on air, saying us on social media, online. Saying us, film trick, what rubbish, how do we believe that? You know, I'm thinking, do you want to burn this country down? Like, you just want one sentence, and then everything just goes down. And then and what was most painful is like, these are young men who are celebrating and working hard at their job. It's not easy to work in Nigeria.
To discourage them now.
It's not discourage them.
It's not
These
easy
are
to
staff
work
of NDLA. Every single day, they wake up in the morning, they feel like they've just made a major bust. And some clowns go on social media and condemn the work they've done. It's really heartbreaking.
And it's also important for those who jump on, such posts to comment to think. Just probe what you're hearing. So if they were to house that amount of cocaine somewhere, don't you think it will eventually get back to society?
Yes. Exactly, it's
real. Don't you think the shortest thing is to show the court, get the order?
Don't you think your younger brother, your younger sister can actually get those cocaine?
Yes. Just probe it.
Somebody in Nigeria is doing their job. And instead of you to appreciate it, you just condemn it. It's really sad. Let's go on a break. When we come back, I didn't sleep. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the nation. Nigerians face harder times as CBN raises interest rate. Picture of Lagos State delivery of trains for the red line system. Akeredolu's mom for burial, November 12th. NDLA sets ablaze 1.8 tons of cocaine. Presidency to Akeredolu, no states can arm security outfits. Suspend Ogun governor's aide, Rufai, jailed 5 years in the US. Atiku, I'll be stepping the stone for Igbo presidency. Oil theft on Polo's gunboats storm Niger Delta creeks. And all 18 presidential candidates face litigation, says INEC. All right, which story are we starting with?
So, Amoteko, finally, the presidency responded. Since that the governor of
has been talking since.
Has been talking, they decided just now to respond, saying that no state was granted approval for the use of arms and ammunition for their state security outfit or any regional outfit for that matter, and that only the NSA, as the National Security Advisor's Office, is empowered to authorize the use of arms and ammunition, following any outfit. And they went on and on and on. They went at him for politicizing security. They said all sorts. But the question is, the Katsina security outfit wielded and displayed firearms outside. So what's the consequence for that?
And the governor cannot
boldness.
say something unfounded claims that how can you give. So for the governor to say that, he must have reasons.
What is the consequence of what the governor did if the NSA did not approve of it before you say somebody is politicizing? Because it took you 2 weeks. Maybe you were investigating your own authorization in 2 weeks for you to respond. So now that you've responded, please investigate Katsina and the governor of Katsina and find out if they have any authorization to carry firearms and display it in that manner.
And then do something about it. So the former militant leader, Government Ememu Polo, a.k.a. Tom Polo, said has deployed dozens of gunboats in Niger Delta creeks to fish out pipeline vandals, illegal refiners, and illegal oil installations. We remember that the commander for the movement for emancipation of Niger Delta, that's Tom Polo, was given a contract recently, 4.5 billion monthly surveillance contract from the federal government and NNPC. And so despite all the controversies that came out of it, he was able to settle down and commence operations. And they said there were dozens of speedboats and gunboats comprising operatives of the Navy, Army, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and they embarked on their first operation on Monday. The joint operation took over 1,000 youths that accompanied the armed men to the operations for their first assignment. And they said the youths were recruited from the host communities. So the idea is to ensure that they recruit about 20,000 youths from those host communities, find a way to give them those jobs so that they can further secure our pipelines.
So yesterday we had the DG of Lamata here on Your View, and coincidentally it was the same day Lagos State received the red line, the cars. They received them from Milwaukee in the United States yesterday. They took delivery of all the red rail cars. And according to the Commissioner for Information, this is such a huge milestone for the Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration because they're going to introduce rail modes into transportation in the Nigeria's Commercial Nerve Center. And also, if you recall, based on what the DG said yesterday, the red line is a 37-kilometer train. I think it's going to be running from Agbado and starting to Oyingbo. And and she also told us yesterday that by first quarter next year, both red lines and blue lines should be completed and ready for commercial use. Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. First, I must say that the presidential candidate for PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has paid all the front pages.
I'm taking his story in the
all
Sun.
the major stories, but either way, we'll take the stories that we can find. The Punch, 2023, Atiku governors land in Abuja. Tinubu Obi delay campaigns. Business face cash crunch. Interest rate hits 15.5%. $350,000 fraud. $350,000 fraud. America jails Abiodun's ex-aide for stealing 20,000 identities. Ogun State reacts. I have that story. So this happened in Washington, D.C., I believe. Let me find that story. So many of you heard the story where we had Abidemi Rufai, who was an ex-aide of Governor Abiodun, Governor Dakpo Abiodun, and he's been in prison for 5 years in Washington, D.C. According to reports, and many of us have followed that story, where he was said to have stolen the information of more than 20,000 Americans to perpetrate series of cyber fraud. And this happened of course, recently.
Total amount, $350,000.
So the total figure comes at $350,000, yes. And he said that for his attempt also to steal $2.4 million from the United States Department, including $500,000 in pandemic-related unemployment benefits. So this is a really, really sad situation. But let me find the response of the Ogun State government, which is not in this article, but pretty much it's not a good story.
We can get that later.
We can always get that later.
Okay, yeah. So there's a report in the Punch on an undercover report by Punch on one way. And so what they discovered is that some police officers, some members of Lagos State staff, following the auction of about 134 vehicles, they found out that there is a practice of removing of one-way signage, and then, deliberately misleading motorists to enter into a one-way and then arresting them for violating one-way. And this report is seriously damning, if I can use that word. I hope that...
Did you get the name of the place? Because they
different
mentioned
areas were reported, in Yanoworo, Olojo Drive, and I have experiences on Yaba, personal experiences. I would be wondering, you'll be on the map, and the map will be saying traffic is light here. You turn into that place and they come on your car. And I'll be like, where's the one way? They'll say, you cannot see it. They'll confuse you. You keep looking back, and then somebody will, so as if they want to raid your car. I had that experience, and I know that these things happen. Yes, it is wrong to use one way. I would never deliberately use a one way, but it will be even worse off to have your own citizens, your own law enforcement officers
removing the signage
deliberately just to arrest you. When you know the consequences is possibly impounding or destruction or even auctioning on the person's car. So
and
I think they should clean things up.
Yes, I have another story in the Punch. So the Lagos State Police Command on Tuesday arraigned 2 residents of Orile Okoba in the Agege area of the state before an Ogba magistrate court for allegedly assaulting an official of an electricity distribution company, Ikeja Electric. So the men were charged with 4 counts of assault, causing breach of public peace. They've been in court, and the matter was adjourned to November 15 with a bail sum of 250 and sureties. However, residents of the environment were claiming that these Ikeja Electric always come there with police to harass residents to pay their bill, and they were tired of the estimated billing that they give to them. So they come there, and sometimes with the police will be shooting in the air while they are driving people to, pay their estimated billing, that they were tired. They had placards in front of the court shouting. So I think the government needs to investigate this. I don't know why Ikeja Electric will use police to collect money. And these people have been saying that they want the prepaid billing, not the estimated billing. They have to do something about this.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. Presidency, my victory will be stepping stone for Southeast, says Atiku. PDP crisis, I won't abandon Wike, says Governor Otom. More cracks in APC over campaign council as key party leaders aggrieved, maintain distance from the PCC. Let me start with Governor Otom. He said that he remains on the side of Governor Wike. What's that word? Bagada, Gidigba. Yeah. Gidigba. Right? He's on the side of that because there were rumors that he was supporting the chairman, Iocha Ayu, and he said no, that he has these very close friends with Wike. According to him, he says that the Benue governor said that the party leadership has not been fair to Governor Wike based on activities that took place during the primaries and the convention. He said we have not been able to deploy the internal conflict mechanism within the party to resolve the issues. However, he has not moved away from the party, and he will continue to sympathize with Wike, but he will definitely support whichever the presidential candidate of the party. So there are no issues of him decamping or supporting other factions. Okay.
Yes. So the major headline that has been on all the papers.
Yeah, so
the presidential candidate,
Atiku.
of People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, yesterday was telling the people of the Southeast that his presidency, if elected in next year's poll, will be a stepping stone to the zone producing the president of Nigeria. So he will start first, then they will be able to lay on top of him and rise. So he consulted with the leaders and stakeholders of the party from the 5 Southeast states, and he was accompanied by his running mate, that's the governor for Delta State, Okowa. And then he went ahead to say that he's determined to revive the nation's economy. He understands how industrious the Southeasterners are, and any government that needs to make impact, must carry the Southeast along, that they have so far supported him for a very long time, and is there to ensure that they can build on their business acumen and move the economy forward. He went ahead to promise a whole lot of things that he's going to be doing for Nigeria. What we're talking about right now is about unity, carrying everybody along, and he has the capacity to carry everybody. I think people should read the article. They were well outlined. Yeah, he talked about restructuring. He's going to restructure, make sure that the federating states have enough power to come together. So, and restructuring is not just for one person. So he also begged the youths to stop the sit at home on Mondays because it's not paying them. They all need to work together.
Okay, let's go on a break. Well, game on. Game has started.
Game on, yeah.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to take Vanguard now, mixed outlook for parties as campaigns begin today. I took a story inside Vanguard about the hashtag EndSARS report, which has actually been submitted officially to the federal government 2 years after. This was presented by the chairman, Justice Suleiman Galadima, retired, and he handed it over to the ES of the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, Tony Ujoku, who noted that compensation is just part of one step of the road to justice on this hashtag, of this EndSARS issue. Furthermore, he said, and that's the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, said that they still need to hold the indicted officers of the Nigerian police accountable for these violations of human rights. If you recall, like I'm just going to run down very quickly part of the highlights of the report, which is that there were a total of 295 petitions. 95 were decided and 33 were struck out. 54 complaints were withdrawn, 57 referred to the Human Rights Commission, while 56 others were judgment petitions, and 72 police officers were found guilty for having various human rights infractions, while 25 officers were recommended for dismissals, 15 others had to suffer reduction in rank. So the good thing is that the report was actually implemented across board, and about 39 petitioners of extrajudicial killings got the 220 million naira compensation, which we read also in the paper. So we saw the start and we saw the finish. So now it's just for the government to implement the final stage of the federal government to ensure that the police force ensures that it completes this totally, and so that Nigerians can see that justice indeed was served for the people. Another story in Vanguard?
Yes, so for the past months now, I think there's been a lot of lamentations by motorists plying the Asaba-Onitsha bridge. Said there's a lot of traffic going on there. I know there's been this construction for the second Niger bridge that's been, they've been trying to do. So the first promise was that they would have completed it by October, and commuters were expecting that at least before November, December, when you have that interstate Christmas rush, the road would have been completed. They're complaining that they stay there for hours. A journey that's supposed to take just 5 minutes takes them 2 to 3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours on the bridge. And they are appealing to the government to hurry up and complete it. So most of them were a bit disappointed that it's not going to, it's looking like October is no longer feasible, and, you know, nothing is being done about it. But the Minister Fashola, spoke recently and was saying that before December, the second Niger bridge would have been open for commuters, so there's still a bit more hope. And one of the things that delayed them was the COVID-19, because they were coming initially at fast speed, but for COVID and then every other thing. And they also complained that some community members were, you know, looking for one contract or the other, which was really delaying the work going on there. But let's see how December works.
They also promised us that Lagos Ibadan too. So we are a lot of things we're waiting for.
A lot of work is going on, yes.
Minister of Works,
yeah.
December, second Niger Bridge, December, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, we're waiting.
So the Benue State Emergency Management Agency's Executive Secretary has spoken about the flood they're experiencing presently in Benue State. 23 persons have died, flooded away, 74 others seriously injured. 116,000 people displaced presently. And the one that is most disheartening for me is 14,000 hectares of farmland washed away. So not only did they lose where they live, they lost their livelihood as well. 4,411 houses so far been submerged in water, and the pictures are not funny. They're gory. They're asking, he's saying that the state is overwhelmed, they can handle it. They're asking for federal government assistance. They're looking at humanitarian organizations to help. I hope that the governor will leave politicking and also focus on what is happening at home. When you lose farmlands like that, in a state that is very agric-based, it is supposed to be painful for any leader and enough to concern himself about.
Okay, I was going to now move on quickly now to the Guardian. I'm not sure if we took Guardian. Let's see, economy in rare credit squeeze as CBN continues with 20-year high interest. Court orders INEC to publish names of candidates in Edo governor's faction. Wike brings back legacy 600 aircrafts abandoned in Germany. Stop dividing Christians. Northern elders advise APC. Court nullifies Ogun PDP partnership, Kebbi Central Senatorial District primaries. And finally, 2023 elections, how Nigerian politicians deceive electorate by Peter Obi. I actually wanted to take that story by Peter Obi, where he was saying that I didn't take that story, but I think I read it very briefly. And it was admonishing those who were speaking to that many politicians will come and try to induce you that we shouldn't have an election of divisive elections, that people should be voted based on their competence. And it's not about anybody's turn. It's about the fact that the Nigerian people's turn is the people's turn. And he was going on the fact that even if he gives you money, collect it. But the point is that you must vote your conscience. I think that's what he was saying in a nutshell. I think that is all we can take on front page review. As I said, today marks the start of the political campaigns, and we could sell that from all the papers. Everybody's not doing front page. It might be difficult to get some real stories, but we'll have to be looking beyond the political stories. But the truth is, I think Nigerians should be careful, especially using negative energy at this time, especially bad words. These are things that can cause damage even your candidates. Yeah, true. So the best thing for us to do is let's us be clear on what we want and be very clear on what we're looking for, and then ask for Nigerians to vote their conscience. It's not about the carrying placard. It's about waking up that day, going out, line up and voting. All your speaking English is not going to feel. All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll start with our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. This morning, we're going to be discussing culture. And culture in different ways, because recently, when the Queen was buried, many people admonished the fact that the British were able to preserve quite a bit of their culture. And the fact that Africans always seem to want to look away from culture, beliefs, and tradition. We're constantly trying to abandon what is ours and embrace what is foreign. But then we bring that conversation to an issue where a young widow was recently shaved, her hair was shaved off her. And there's a culture that says that when you lose your spouse, or there's a tradition, I would say, they say that when you lose your spouse, your head is shaved off. And some say there are things, there are rituals done with even the body of the water that is used to bath the person. There are different cultures and traditions in different places within Nigeria. But the question, therefore, is, which cultures are we keeping? Which ones are we discarding? Should we begin to look back and see how we can preserve? Or should we even interrogate the reasons why these things exist in the first place? Maybe there are real reasons. Maybe we're just looking at it from the foreign look, from the foreign prism and glass. If we ask our forefathers and mothers, why do you shave off the hair? Maybe there's a legitimate reason. We don't know these things. Yesterday, we had the mayoress of Ikosiketu talking about, in this area, we want to bring in different cultures because we must embrace what belongs to us. So how do we know what is right and what is wrong? Should we condemn this act? What are your thoughts on this? Or are there people who believe in this tradition who can call the show this morning and explain to us the legitimate, the real reason, the moral justification for shaving off a widow's head? It's something we'd like to talk about. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect, please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So we don't like to condemn people's beliefs because I don't want to believe everybody is backward. I would like to believe that some people, once a little, if you show them a bit of, let me give an example. So my mother-in-law, stays with me, right? And she has a bed that was made by this man that she and her husband revere. This man is a carpenter, fantastic, baba this, baba that, And when we got married, she made it look as if that bed is the best bed. I bought a really nice bed and I liked it. But she insisted that I carry that bed, that I bring the bed, that bed, right? I'm telling you. The bed came, I shall use it because just to make her happy. So we got a new house now. And she was telling us, please, that's my bed, though. No problem. We hadn't brought in the new bed. But she now went to go and sleep on the brand new bed we had bought. And she slept on that bed for the first time. She felt good. Said,
she won't go back to that bed.
I don't want that bed again. And I was talking to my husband, I said, this is your mother. She forced us to go and bring this bed, but she had not tasted this new one. She has not seen. She's so locked up in, it has to be Baba Kiniko's bed or nothing. So how do we refine our mind? Let's break this down a bit. Let me hear your thoughts on this.
So, these are, personal sentiment, not the one that culture has brought. So a personal sentiment, like I love the fact that my father-in-law gave me joko when I gave birth. That, this is how you sit there as a woman. I kept that joko till the thing roasted, chop the wood chop and throw it away. So that's sentiment. But if we take some cultures that we have with conscience, fairness and justice, they would not last a second. And we have a lot of them. A lot of them, it's not just about whether they're serving or not. From the day they were created, they were made to serve a few. The tradition of Abobaku was made to serve a few. There's an Igbo saying that, if you see, how does my friend say it? If you see a dead body that is not family member, that dead body looks like a log of wood. Until it comes home, close touches you. That's when you know that this thing is not good. And we have too many like that. The customs of, widow shaving, the one we were talking about earlier, a lot of them like that. Now we must push aside. Those cultures encourage slavery, and it did exist. It encouraged the big man. it encouraged where there's this culture of loan payment by service. So your person takes a loan, there's no proper arrangement, the person becomes a slave, and sadly, it exists till today.
Yeah.
To the person who gave out that loan, it exists till today. We have the culture of lock him up, abusing the systems because these are our ways of life. People don't see different, and we test those things by conscience. We push it on. We wear the shoes. We would understand that these things need to change. Customs of marriage, customs of underage marriage. We have too many like that.
This sentiment is what fuels culture. So, for example, the Ababaku, that's the person that dies with the king. The reason why some elders agree that you have to die with the king is, well, if you're a king, you can't just die by yourself. I mean, they
have to honor you to the land of the dead.
Yes. The person that is dying, they honor him. The person that is dying, did anybody ask? Or if the person who was saying, no, we have to honor king, if it was his child that needed to be buried with the king, will he not test it? He will be like, no, this custom has to go.
It has to change.
And there was this custom in Calabar then, where a woman gets pregnant and marries another, or goes to another husband with the pregnancy of the first child, and the house where the child is born becomes the parent of that child. So the father would be in court outside, hanging around trying to get their child. If you test it, if it comes to you, do you want to?
You will not like it.
You will not like it. We have too many like that need to stop. And sadly, those of them that...
Let me come to you, BC. Your thoughts on this?
So I'll start by saying let's stick to the good parts. So everything has the good sides and the bad sides. And culture, as we know it, is a way of life of a people. when the communities were coming together, deciding we're going to stay with this tribe and that tribe, they were, testing out some theories, what will work. If this happens, how do we react? How does the community react? If somebody dies, how do we treat the women? If this happens, they were using some of those things at their level at the time, with the mindset that they had to sort of protect themselves, protect the community. It was more about protection. But now, as we progress and evolve, we need to start asking ourselves critical questions. Are these ways of life serving us? This culture, is it still serving us in today's world? This culture, is it still something another person will hear and it will sound good to them? We need to keep questioning and keep modifying and keep changing. Like you have products that after every year, I remember those days. I saw one gramophone very recently and I was like, where did they? Yes, I went to my mother-in-law's house and then my kids were playing music. They were able to attach the YouTube to the gramophone. Yeah, and I've been looking for something. I'm like, where did they? Mommy, where did you keep this? But now we don't have that anymore. We have very slim Bluetooth. That's how life should be. Because with every dispensation and every generation, the mindsets of men are constantly improving with knowledge. Even the children we are having these days, they come like follow come. They are like technologically savvy. That's how they have been made. And if you check their DNA, according to some scientists, these new human beings we are giving birth to now are modified. They are different versions from us. I'm not joking. This is science. Anybody can research it. So we need to start asking ourselves, does this dehumanize this person? This culture, this treatment, does this dehumanize this person as a human being?
Let's define what dehumanizing is.
Good.
Because let's talk about, because you said let's go to the good part.
Yeah.
That can be relative.
Stick to the good part.
That can be relative.
Yeah.
What's good to you may not be what's good to me. So we can decide, for example now, let me stay on you for a minute. Okay. When somebody dies, the perception is that, okay, a woman should be humble.
Yeah.
You should look, wear your sackcloth, as they say in the Bible, be solemn at that time. And part of a way of showing...
Show a contrite spirit.
Yes, but part of looking that way is shaving off your hair, because your hair is your beauty, is your glory, is that thing that makes you radiate. Yeah. And we're saying at this moment, because you just lost somebody, shave it off so you're back in the house. That was probably the reason. I don't know, and I'm like for somebody to call it tell us the reason. Yes. So it's a way, it's a way to get you, because now people lose their spouses and 1 year later they don't even act as if their has moved on.
So were they supposed to stop their life because somebody has died? So they had that system because of the limited knowledge they had. The people who made those laws had limited knowledge. Right now, we have new knowledge that people grieve differently.
Pause, no verse. They did not have that knowledge because they had those practices to punish, and I would explain.
No, some way.
Let me explain. You see those soft practices?
It's relative.
Wait now, let's wait. So people become widows. So also the men become widowers.
Yeah.
But the practices for men, is it that strenuous? No. Because it is believed that the man is allowed to enjoy his life. But a woman is a suspect.
Yeah, so that's another part.
If her husband dies,
yeah.
Reason is because she's already made to carry the burden of abuses in her marriage. Traditionally in Africa, you will stay put in an abusive marriage, and if God forbid your husband dies before you that you are suffering, you survive.
Will suffer, yes.
You will test you.
Yes.
They want to test your innocence. So another woman will be made to make you go through what they call proof of innocence. Shaving off your head is to make sure that your beauty is reduced while you're supposed to be in mourning. And in every culture around the world and religion, women mourn longer than men.
Yeah.
Why is it that way? Then after shaving that, they will force you in some way to come and you will go through traditional practices. I remember, I will not mention names, someone whose husband died. And the first thing that came to her mind was, I'm going to have to travel. But if I travel with clean, beautiful clothes, I will be judged as being insensitive and not grieving enough. So give me the rags. This is someone who can afford clothes. And we started scouting for the worst clothes before she could travel. Because if she dares to come and appear like I'm appearing in grieving, they will say, this one your husband died.
Yeah.
But now it is women who start this conversation. Yeah. I'm just saying, these practices, if you now turn it around, another woman, it's until when the thing started going around that women started to talk. The practice of women not being able to inherit. How did we even start? All of us were born. But some of us can inherit, some of us cannot. Yeah. How can it even make sense?
Yeah. Yes, so I understand that argument, and that's one of the things. I don't want to think that the people who, like our forefathers who set those laws, were about punishment. It wasn't about punishment. But over the years, as it kept evolving, people will now add their own wickedness to really deal with other people. That's what we now see. And that's why every culture must be subjected to test and critical thinking from generation to generation. So you keep sifting, you keep pruning till you take out those things that no longer serve you. And you asked the question about humanity. How when somebody is dehumanized, when somebody is disrespected, when the dignity of somebody is stripped, that's dehumanizing. And elders can sit down and assess it. This person who is going through this treatment, to what end? What are we looking for? Are we accusing her that she killed the husband? Or we're just trying to uphold culture? And you know how Nigerians are. We are followers. The cultures, most of us never questioned. My fathers did it like that. My father's fathers did it like that. Nobody asked why they started it. This is what we need to be doing now as our culture progresses. So those, some of those things that we see now that no longer serve us, the government needs to wade into it. Because don't forget that in the villages, like now, if anything happens and I have to go to the village, I'm going to be faced with you mothers. The elderly women are seated there waiting for me to come. You, Abi, and they will deal with you because of that knowledge that they still uphold. Right. The government needs to step in and do something.
Leave government out of this. That's going to
no,
be
government stays.
We'll be right back. Government about
all of that joy.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You know, so we're going to be taking a few comments on social media, but, you know, sometimes you think to yourself that maybe it's time for us to have a formal structure to review culture. You know, maybe it's part of the work of the obas, the elders, the emirs, to have a certain time, maybe every 10 years or every 20 years, where they review. We should even document all the traditions, all our proverbs, what makes your culture unique should be documented so that as we are evolving, a new Oba comes in and is reviewing. Because right now, it's just based on somebody said, he said, she said, they said, and this is how they say it, that's what, you know. There's nothing where we can reference and say, you know, this is what we want to do.
So a few years ago, I think about 2-3 years, I traveled to Asaba. For my auntie's, one of my auntie's burial. And then when I got there, it was just a very little gathering. We went to the mortuary, brought her back. Just a few people gathered, family members, a few relatives here and there. And then they did the ceremony, very soft. And that's not the Asaba I knew. We used to tie cloths for 7 days and dance. You see that dance I was dancing that day? That's the kind of dance we dance, you know. And I was asking, I said, Daddy, what happened? Because I went with my father. And he said, that the government came and reviewed everything. That's in Delta State, Asaba. Came and reviewed everything. So before, we would have had like canopies up to 10, 12. You will settle Mwada, you settle Okulagwe, you settle the youth, you settle different, as in feeding, cooking, everything. So to do burial in Asaba, you will spend money. If you don't have, you go and borrow, nobody cares. Or you will keep your corpse in the mortuary for years till you are ready. I'm not joking, to do the burial. But I came and everything was just very smooth. And he said, yes, so that the government, in fact, if they catch you, in a burial and it's a large gathering, you will be fined seriously. The government waded in. Now, why am I calling the government? Before, we used to have our traditional rulers as the superior authority. Not anymore. The government supersedes. Even if an Oba makes a pronouncement, and the local government, or the governor says, no, this is not going to happen. So we need them to get involved. Now they can liaise with the Obas and say, okay, this and this and this is what we think we can do, work together and ensure that we lift up this. And I didn't see, when I came, I didn't see my aunties shave their hair. Before is a norm now. You will shave. In fact, as a grandchild, when my grandfather died, our head was shaven. My head was shaven for a grandfather, not husband though. I was just very small then. But I didn't see all of that anymore.
Let me take this call from Port Harcourt. I think it's God's will. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Please, This is Gospel Engineer Gospel from Port Harcourt.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Welcome.
You're live. You're listening to the TV. Please go ahead.
Please, the issue of culture and tradition. Please, I want you to know that some of them are spiritual.
Okay.
Some of them are spiritual, and before you do any abolishment, you go for consultation. And if you disobey this tradition and some of these customs, if you disobey them, they have a serious implication, spiritual implication, that might cause your life or any damage in your family. So there are some that was made by man, but some are spiritual, being made by the gods. And most of them are ancestral. That's what you need to know about customs and tradition. Most of them are ancestral.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's another perspective. So many of them are spiritual, they're from the ancestors. And so maybe we should consult the ancestors. We need to consult, because the truth is, we need to review, because I have found.
Review with the ancestors, right?
Let me give an example of such a culture. So in Benin tradition, all the way to Delta, where we had the Bendel state, we have a common custom called the Idiogbe custom. That custom is where the first son must inherit his father. To do that, and the ancestral home must be inherited by first sons, and they must carry out burial rites to be able to qualify. So if a son fails to do burial rites, that son cannot then say he has qualified. And the court upheld that custom. Reason is because the rationale, that's the reason to maintain ancestral homes has some form of logic. Even in English law, you have people put it in document that this home remains the ancestral home and must be given generation to generation. And so that custom that we did not write because it was unwritten, but we had a way to maintain that custom made sense. And it was first son. Where a person doesn't have that, his brother then fills in. If a person doesn't have a son, fills in. But what they are trying to ensure is that our own customs, or the duties of family, where families have their duties. I'm not from a royal, but my mom is from royal, where they have some duties they carry out. Or my husband, for instance, whose families are kingmakers, where they have some rights they do. The first sons are raised to understand those rights. Not be the one where we know go just understand. So somebody's child, God forbid she make mistake and cross a tribe to marry. They will just wait for the husband to die before her. They think that she doesn't understand. They will tell her that if she doesn't do it, she has not done something spiritual, and that she will see some form of consequence. And it's totally unexplainable. I am from Edo. I've seen so many customs that if you change them, nothing will happen.
And wait, see, nobody wants to take, nobody wants
because
to be the one to fall for that.
Double hardship that you sort of promote. Wait, when a person dies, they will tell the children who are mourning, who probably are in secondary school, to carry out burial. Why does the family, the people who are empowered, who are older, not come in and say this custom is compulsory, and so we must put money together and do it for these children who are under 10 years, who are under 18, whose father has just passed? Why do you compel children that are under age like that to say you are opposing custom?
So let's go back to what our last caller said. So there are cultures that you have to consult with the gods, no doubt about that. But there are some we can logically review. There are some that we practice. And we say, this is what is better, because we are testing it over, we're testing it with under morality and fairness and humanity. We're saying, you know what, let us test this and be sure that, is this humane enough to carry on? Let me take this call from Abia State. Uko, are you there?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Please, what I want to contribute in this is that most of these cultures have something to do with our ancestors. Like in my place, there is a taboo for a married woman to have an affair with another man. So now, but when the woman's husband is dead, now shaving the hair is a symbol of respect from the woman to the deceased, telling the man that there is nothing I hold as a respect again. Maybe, you know, a woman's hair is part of her duty. So the woman is just telling the deceased husband that even this duty, I'm laying it because of the love I had for you. So she will shave her hair so that after that now, the woman now can have the right to remarry.
Okay, Uko, let me ask you a question very quickly. Is there a right for if a woman dies, her husband, is that something the husband does to show the same kind of respect for the wife also?
What does he shave?
No, see, if the woman dies, there is a lot of things that the husband do also to show that he loves the wife. Like, for instance, the husband will not go to a farm for a specific period of time. The husband cannot go to, let's say, traditional celebrations, maybe like New Year Festival, maybe any occasion. There are certain specific occasions the community will do. The husband will attend to show that he's still mourning the late. Or it will be for a particular period of time. Right. So, but you know.
Thank you.
So let's wait. Let's wait this conversation. Now, that brings us back to what Nima said initially, where the laws seem like against the women. So a woman will shave. That's something personal to her. You know
hair that will grow back.
No, whether it grows back or not, your hair is your glory. That's the glory God has given to you. And you didn't wake up to say, I feel like cutting because I want a different style. You are shaved to the end with razor and comb. I've experienced it before. I know how it is. You know how you look for a few days and a few months to gain back exactly. So you are shaved, which is personal. A bit of dehumanization or heavily dehumanized, very personal. But for the man, he can stay away from celebrations and ceremonies and staying away from the farm. Like if you're working in Lagos and you lose somebody, of course you take some weeks off work. You will not just resume immediately. That's exactly how it is. So if you place it alongside each other, it doesn't matter. One person is the female. They are paying more than the men. But let's come to the part of this culture that we talk about and the ancestors that we are calling. In my study, I'm beginning to realize that most of those things we said spirits told us is a lie. I'm not joking. No, hold on. This is my personal, hold on. This is my personal opinion. Okay. Because these ancestors have a way of changing their minds.
I don't want us to go there.
No, hold on. When it is a rich elite in the village that it happens to, the ancestors will quickly change their mind. So we need to call a spade a spade.
Right.
Negotiate. If you feel that this came from the ancestors, please, can you negotiate with this ancestor that this is not paying my people? It's simple. Let's leave it there.
Okay, so the Asian people have a custom where if their daughter is dating you, and God help you, you go and have extramarital affair with her or premarital affair with her to result in either her death or pregnancy, and you've not come to ask, you cannot bring the body on. They will now lock you on body for 7 days.
Imagine.
Where you will have serious trauma. What did you think that, was it spirit? Is that just justice? He's so traumatized the way you have traumatized them.
Simple.
So
they pay you back.
Spirits tell you that one. If the
reason why I want us to tread carefully, because these are people's cultures, and I don't want us to.
We're talking about our own personal.
Let's be careful. I'll pick another one that is in the now. Genital mutilations that the spirits have compelled. That some people are saying it's custom. It's our spirit to happen.
Which spirits told them?
If it was your own, and if you see the consequence of it in your life,
in your daughter,
would you allow it for another
My
person? My parents had 4 girls. They did not take any girl home for genital mutilation. So if that custom, they want to...
When it comes to you, that time, the ancestors will not be speaking.
That's all I'm saying.
Please,
let's go on a break. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue, take a few more calls and comments. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to take a few comments, and I have one from Engineer Ajibola Tijani. He says that experience has shown that no culture is permanent. It's only a matter of time. Culture evolves from generation to generation, and we can see that this evolution around us. According to him, also in the Dark Ages, human beings were used for sacrifices, but it has changed over centuries. He even reminded that recently, twins, if you recall, were tagged as evil in some communities, but that has since been abolished since Mary Slessor. He also added that ignorance helps some, bad culture, to subsist in the age of technological advancement. So culture shouldn't be static in a nutshell. And the truth is that we get that, but who determines what stays and what goes? Because as I said, everybody was really celebrating the culture of how the queen was buried, you know, how the whole tradition was seen, and the world stood at God and said, wow, these guys, I mean, I saw people still the cutscene. So the point is that we need, so how do we demystify ours and refine it enough that we can still teach it to our children?
Okay, let me quickly take Ogumola's comments. Culture is explicit. Don't complain until you marry into it. Do your due diligence. The problem is that there is no equity in custom. What applies to men should also apply to women. And he talks about his opinion. Now, if you know some customs, like I chose not to marry a particular Yoruba tribe, I knew that when their women give birth, they are made to go through another additional suffering, no salt, nothing. They will use cold water to bathe their children. I investigated.
Are you serious?
I cannot, where I come from with a pamper picking. So if I choose to pamper...
It's a Yoruba culture.
He was a Yoruba culture. There's a select Yoruba, I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I don't know the Yoruba culture
I will tell you after the break, during the break. So I found that, and I kept asking the women around that, why is this? You know, they don't used to ask. You cannot ask. It was like, I'm going to be punished to marry you. I told the person, I beg, please be going. Because what I don't understand, I cannot do. You know? So sometimes these customs are upheld by women. They are upheld by those who have already suffered it, those who know the pain, but they're saying, you can't question. Let one person start. It was one person that chose that my twins should not die and sought help of a missioner. And then started keeping those twins. And then they found that the twins grew up and really nothing bad happened. There's a village here in the southwest where everybody there, hardly a family that do not have twins. And now everybody there are progressing. But, you know, it was a custom then that you should just destroy twins. If you go to Ogun State, amongst the people, there are customs that, you know, they encourage having those twins. So when you don't test it, you will not know. Then the custodians of those cultures, who should also question it, will now say, let's call the oracle, the priest, the chief priest to come. Chief priest would say on his own bias what he thinks. He will say the spirit spoke to him. His own spirit spoke to the entire village. Yes, the kings now, who are presently in today's world, lavishing and enjoying and allowing Orokari tradition to happen in Lagos, they should ask themselves, because it is beyond partying regularly and doing societal images that is kingship. Kingship is also testing your people and checking the welfare of your people, and it must continue beyond.
I think you just hit a very important nerve, because the truth is that we must continually test these things, and our chiefs should not just say we're not constitutionally recognized. They don't. We have there's work to be done.
Yes.
There's work to be done, because some of these cultures are not enhancing the people. So we need to review them, these cultures. Let me come to you, BC, because I'm going to
You cannot do above the knowledge that you have. The cultures we're holding on strongly to today was given by the spirits based on the knowledge the spirits had. Let's even look at the scriptures.
Spirits are all knowing.
Hold on.
They're all knowing now.
Which one is all knowing? Are you not a spirit?
Spirits.
You're a spirit. I'm a spirit. Everybody here is a spirit. We're just here for a physical experience. That's what we're doing. So we need to understand that. Let's even look at the scriptures. When God needed to control his people at the time, according to the Bible, he gave the laws. He gave the 10 commandments. But over the centuries, he realized that the 10 commandments will not work anymore. And what did he do? He brought Jesus. And he brought a superior commandment, not to abolish the first commandment, but to fulfill it, which was love and grace. Abi? So you can follow the pattern that you see that there's a time for a review. There is no culture that cannot be reviewed. And how do we review it? We pick the ones that dignify our people. We pick the ones that give respect to our people. We pick the ones that people from other places will come and admire and say, wow, we have beautiful cultures. I don't know, anytime we talk about culture, we're always looking at the negative side. Nigerians have beautiful cultures. Let us uphold those. And those ones that don't serve us anymore, let us put them down. Let us find a way to use superior knowledge, superior love and grace.
All right, let me take this call.
On those.
I have a caller. Good morning. Are you there, Hassan?
Good morning, Mohammed.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
He's laughing.
Good morning, Anima and
Obiajilu.
Good morning, sir.
I will start with the short story about Obiajilu area. A man told me a story about this Osu caste system in Southeastern Nigeria. A man that spoke very well like Obiaguru went to the village. He spoke against this Osu caste system in the borderline between Imo and Abia. He was very rich, versatile, well-traveled. Do you know what was told him? They said, no problem. Please, set an example for us. Because they don't marry from Osu people. They now told him, okay, you spoke well of our son. But please, you have a daughter, you have a son. Please, can your son marry to Osu? That was where the guy was found dumbfounded. You understand? You see, there are some cultures. If me, as far as I'm concerned, culture is a religion. People believe in it. You understand? But it's not there. There are some cultures we should uphold.
Yeah.
But there are certain cultures we should be away with. But people have already ingrained in people. We are people, we are traditional people before Islamic and Christianity. And people are finding it difficult to detach themselves from it. Despite being Muslims, despite being Christians. If you go to certain Yoruba areas here, you see a Muslim dancing to culture.
You know, I have a brother that's married to a South African, and when they were having one of the weddings in their families and everything, and I'm not sure which culture they're from exactly from South Africa, but the man there were naked girls. They had their breastless, they were braless. Girls were dancing around him during the wedding ceremony. Braless. And they were just having and everything. And they had on their beads and everything, their skirts, but they had no tops on. And my brother was thinking, okay, I'm getting married to this guy's sister. That's what, you know.
I'm going to experience.
It was interesting to watch. Because I don't know I just watched the video and I was asking my brother, what's that? I said, that's how they do it. I heard that when their own too.
They will do for me too.
You know, and so somebody might define that as dehumanizing. Others will say it's our culture. Maybe they are virgins, maybe they are young girls in the house. I don't know what they are, but somebody can say, you know what? There's a way we can rebrand this and make the international community appreciate and even and adore and respect what we hold. So you might see it as dehumanizing. Shaving your head to you might be dehumanizing. To another person, like, wow, what a sacrifice! What's a solemn moment for you as a woman?
Wow,
what a season for you know. So we can look at it in different ways. It depends on how you look at it. Everything. So I'm saying that is it that we are constantly looking at it but judging it from a different angle, or can we see it from the angle of the custodians of that culture?
So we've highlighted a few cultures here and we have seen how it's caused trauma to the people who are made to carry it out. Yeah. So if I love my husband and in his culture, I heard that women were made to shave their heads, you know, after their husbands die. And I love him so much, I just feel that, this is one way. I'm looking for all the ways to honor him, and I chose to shave my head. Shaving at my head.
Emphasis
and I choose. Emphasis is on choice. Yeah. You know, even though he don't already die, you don't see whether I marry or not. He did not send me a message. But I chose it. Not that some group of women now said, come on, how dare you survive your husband?
Exactly. Now you felt
it's not always like that. The scenario is not always like that, Nima. Don't make it look at it like that.
See, you are a Lagos girl.
No,
you see this thing.
There's some scenarios like that, Nima. You are right. But there's some scenarios where I grew up in this culture. I was born. I saw my mother's head shaved. I understood it. I've accepted it as my way of life. And I'm willing to shave my hair because it is who I am.
Did you ask your mother if she liked it?
The man who called.
Did you ask your mother if she liked it?
Your mother already passed away. I'm asking you.
The man who called on the show told us that it can happen, that ancestors, that if something happens, because that is his belief system.
That's his belief. And to the believer, it is true. There are people who have stayed there and revolted and said this is dehumanizing. There are rich people in that community that those things, they ask them, would you want to do, let me tell you how it's done. Would you want to do this or will you pay a fine for it? They give rich people a choice. Rich people are given a choice in every culture. Should we do this or will you pay something in lieu of it?
Let me go on a quick break.
But the poor person has no choice. That's what we're talking about. Give us a choice.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us, Silence in the studio. So, let's take a few comments.
Yeah. Mina says, my husband's family has this culture of eating unsalted and unseasoned food when you give birth. 8 days for male, 7 days for female. I was told it started when a jealous wife made the junior wife eat said food after birth when their husband was not around as punishment to the wife. This made the junior wife pronounce a curse on future births, and not doing this means the child will die. A lot of us want this to change. Want to change this culture, but who will experiment on her child? Now, because of that fear, you see that they use fear. Also, what happens when cultures clash?
Yeah.
So my mom's cousin once wanted to marry a Yoruba girl. As custom in Yoruba land, you must prostrate. But my mom's cousins are royals. They don't prostrate. A future king cannot prostrate. We explain. They say, lie, they will not agree, they will not agree. After a few hours of begging, people started going back to the village. And once they travel past Shagam,
that's the end of the marriage.
They started blocking motor. Now we should come. They can then compromise. When cultures clash, you can drop culture. So really, there's nobody that...
So if you can drop it at that time, why don't drop the ones that are serving you? Chichi on Scripture said, imagine, say you get long hair. After years and years of training it, they will not ask you to cut it. Oluwaseun says, visit to every culture, there's always a bypass if you can pay the sacrifice. The reason why it looks like it's for the rich is because they can pay the price. Now, Yibo will do pencil. Now I do eraser. So you know how we know how to bend the rules when it comes to setting people. Can we give people a choice? If you cannot do this, right? What they do in my village now, if you cannot do certain things, you will pay in lieu of. You drop money for it, and then they will sort it out. There was a time I was called, there's a part of the burial of your grandmother that was not completed and everything. My father called me on the phone and said, Daddy, ask them, how much will it cost? Let me send it so that they can do it. And I sent it and they did it. And they moved on. So if we can do that, why do we keep holding on to those ones that want to use to punish people? Let us ask our conscience the truth.
This person has a balance. Timila Yakorede says, in the old days, one of the reasons women pay more was because men are the ones who made more sacrifices for the families to survive. That's why women need to show respect to men when they pass. But today, a lot needs to be changed, and I agree to that.
I think we can wrap up on this. I think in a nutshell, I think it's time for us to speak to the obas, the custodians of our culture,
their work.
and that there's work to be done. It's not just about carrying your shekeri and going for parties and attending political rallies. There's a lot of review that must go on in the tradition and culture of the people, because at the end of the day, it's about the people. What enhances, what is serving to the people, what serves your people, not what is dehumanizing for people. So if that's all the obas are meant to do, that in itself
that's enough.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I think that we need to start reviewing all these cultures that don't actually empower women, especially. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we're bringing our guest in for who's a cardiologist. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. If you're asked what are the most important organs in the body, some will say heart, others will say brain. But today we'll be speaking on how to maintain a healthy heart. Joining us on the show is the CEO of First Cardiology Consultants, Dr. Yemi Johnson. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Yes.
It is.
So the heart is such an important organ, and we hear a lot of cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, heart blockage, and these things happen so suddenly. You know, sometimes the most healthiest. I mean, I've lost one or two people who are they're healthy, they eat healthy, they're exercising, and somehow they just fall off, and you're thinking, what happened? Say, oh, he had a heart attack. How did that happen? So I'm really interested in this conversation and how do we maintain a healthy, it's kind of a broad question, but how do we start to have a healthy heart?
Okay, well, you've already said most of the things. You eat healthy, you exercise. What I can tell you is about 80 to 90% of the heart attacks I see are preventable. 80 to 90% of heart attacks and strokes are preventable.
Wow.
And I can also tell you that in Lagos, the people who come early with a heart attack, because if you come early, we can reverse the damage. If you come within the first 6 hours, there are things we can do to reverse the damage.
Okay.
And what I've seen is the people who come early are usually the foreigners, the Indians, the Caucasians. They come, as soon as they have chest pain, they come in.
Oh, wow.
We can fix the problem. In fact, last night is a clear example of what happened. An Indian man came in with chest pain within an hour, opened up the blockage, fine. It's not going to have any repercussions on the heart attack. Nigerian, half his age, came in 48 hours after.
Wow.
He's got extensive damage.
Oh, my Lord.
Whoa.
So, and I remember when I've gone for international conferences, they ask me, what do Nigerians do when they have chest pain? And I hate to say, but most of my colleagues will tell you, the first thing a Nigerian would do is pray.
Pray.
Then go to church, then rub
Anointing
balm or anointing oil.
Boniki.
Then when all those things are not working, then they might go to a drugstore and then maybe to a hospital. Wow. So we don't really understand what... So I'll talk about chest pain first.
Yes.
Once you're above the age of 40, chest pain should be taken very seriously.
Wow.
Even if I have chest pain now, I can't tell that it's a heart attack just by how it feels. You have to go in and have some tests done. All right? They will do an ECG, run some blood tests. And if it's a heart attack, there are certain things that need to be done. But we wait. We wait till the damage is done. And then you live with the consequences, which is you'll not be able to walk from here to there without being short of breath. You might be on oxygen the rest of your life. Things like that. So it's important to take chest pain very seriously. If you have chest pain, have it checked out.
What's the level of the pain that will get? Because sometimes body go just pain you.
Like Nigerian, body will pain you now. It's Nigerian.
Stress,
as I'm talking to you right now, I'm in serious pain here.
At the back, yeah.
It's hurting me.
So what's the level that will
looking for a
tell
doctor
you I need
because
to
of
get
back
to a
pain.
doctor?
Back pain can sometimes be deadly. Wow. Not all the time, but sometimes. So any pain up here, check it out. Just have it checked out. It's not that you're going to be admitted or have some expensive
Dr.
tests
Johnson, let
done.
me ask you a question. I'll come to you, Miss Nimam.
All right.
The truth is that when I have a pain right now,
yes,
I go to a doctor and I enter his office, he's likely to tell me, take painkillers and send me home. He's not likely to do an ECG like you would do because you're a cardiologist. So you have an idea. But most doctors will just say, let me give you, people that are using paracetamol, let me increase the dosage to ibuprofen or something else.
I hate to say that's what happened to the young man yesterday. Okay, when I was in medical school a long time ago, we had, throughout my 5 years in Idi Araba, we had one person come with a heart attack. It was rare when we were in school, one person, and it was a Caucasian. And all of us were brought to see the patient and see what a heart attack looked like. So for many doctors, heart attacks are still something in the textbook. But unfortunately, the incidence of heart attacks has increased in Nigeria for several reasons. One, we are not eating healthy any longer. We are not exercising. In those days, unless you had a car, and very few people had cars then, you'd have to walk to where you're going or take a bus and walk. So there's some exercise. Now you park right at the gate, and then you take an elevator 1 floor. No exercise at all. We're eating all these small chops at parties, puff, chicken wings, and all these things that are all fried. So we're eating healthy. There's pollution in the air. I mean, we're not eating healthy. There's pollution in the air. We're not exercising. There is an epidemic of diabetes in the country now.
Wow.
And that is because of obesity, being overweight. Most of diabetes is caused, type 2 diabetes is caused by being overweight. So that level has gone up. So we have all the risk factors. Hypertension, another big risk factor. for heart disease. So we have all the risk factors, and we're not looking after them.
Okay, so you talked about the tests that have to be done, and I have had to, for my loved one in 2017 kept complaining of chest pain. And based on my experience at the time I had my child, any chest pain is heart condition. So we went for all the tests, and the ECGs, everything just kept hitting a brick wall. We didn't find the cause of that chest pain, and eventually it subsided. So if you have to consider what you have to spend, and you know, to find out what is the cause of the chest pain,
and nothing, and you not see nothing,
and you see nothing.
That's the Nigerian factor right there.
Compulsorily,
all I go through all that pain, pay,
expensive tests.
God bless you.
Well, you are correct. Not all chest pain is heart disease. In fact, most chest pain is not heart disease. So yes, most of us pay out of pocket for these tests. In the US, in UK, it's your insurance that takes care of it. So the paradigms are different, and that's true. You can end up spending a lot of money and not find out the cause of the chest pain. The important thing is this. When you go with chest pain, the characteristics of chest pain that you need to be very concerned about, it's central. It's like somebody sitting on your chest, or a baby sitting on your chest, or like your chest is in a vice and it's gripping. It goes up your neck, it goes down your arm, and you start to sweat. All those things are signs of a heart attack.
What happens to those that just drop dead?
That's a whole different ballgame. A heart attack can make you drop dead suddenly, all right? If you have a big heart attack, you can suddenly drop dead. There are many people who drop dead who had symptoms before they dropped dead. They just didn't tell anyone. A lot of that happens. But one of the warning signs is you walking up the stairs, you feel some pressure in your chest, and you have to stop. That's a very big sign that there's something going on. Exertional chest pain. Another one, especially for men, is pain during sex. That's a big sign.
Really? They won't tell you that?
I don't want you to get disappointed.
They don't want to be told weekly.
Yes, it depends on the person. But pain during sex is another important
Pain
sign.
in the heart,
In the heart,
during
not
sex.
The chest.
The
In the
chest.
chest.
The
during
chest.
sex.
Yes.
But your heart is supposed to be doing
Yes,
working
but
hard.
pain.
Okay.
Pain
is
that
different.
makes, yes, pain is different. So that's because that's exercise in of itself. And so people ask me, is sex exercise? I say yes, but exercise should last at least 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it depends on the duration and all that. But pain with activity is an important sign. Pain that radiates down your arm is an important sign. Pain that's associated with shortness of breath or sweating is an important sign. Now, if you have pain and you move your arm, the pain gets worse. It's not likely to be your heart. That's likely to be something in the muscles. All right, so you can rule out some of the things yourself.
All right, so I know that First Cardiology Consultants is a rather high-end hospital. You know, many people can't afford it. But I know you're also doing the Healthy Heart Foundation, which supports people for cardiovascular interventions. Tell us about it. Is it because they feel that you're trying to just reach out to people who can't afford it, or you're just trying to do a sensitization on how to help people in getting healthy hearts?
You've already answered the question for me. Okay, let me give you some background. I trained in Nigeria. I was on scholarship throughout secondary school, university. You know, that time was during the oil boom, and all of us went to school free. You people might not have enjoyed those periods. And I went to the US right after youth corps, spent about 30 years in the US. And it used to irritate me seeing patients come abroad for minor things. They end up seeing one of us.
Yeah.
You know, they come from Nigeria to America and say Nigerian, and they sometimes get disappointed. But I can tell you in the US, in any field in medicine, there are always Nigerians at the top of that field. There are many of us, and they're always at the top. So I felt bad and said, okay, I've spent a long time here. Let me come back and give back to society. And it's been the most difficult thing I've ever tried to do. And cardiology is expensive. All the tests we do, all the procedures we do are expensive. So now, yes, we've brought the technology back home. We can treat heart attacks, we can treat strokes, we can do a lot of things. But majority of the people cannot afford it. And it breaks your heart when you see somebody who doesn't have the money but needs the treatment. You see, and as a single person or one person or a company, we can't really cover all those people. And it's one of the reasons why we've never made a profit, First Cardiology, because we end up treating people. You can't come in with a heart attack and we say, well, you don't have money, go away. It's not ethical. So we decided to, we thought about it, my partner and I, and said, let's see if we can come up with a foundation. Because we've seen many foundations, charity organizations. Some have lasted a few months, some have done very well. And we said, if we do this thing properly, we can reach out to a lot more people.
Okay.
And that is what we're trying to do. Unfortunately, health insurance in Nigeria is not yet where it should be. It started. It's not going to, healthcare to the masses is not going to improve until health insurance is nationwide and is working properly. So this is our own contribution to see to the people who can't afford this thing.
So what's the foundation about? Tell us about what do you do? How do you become part of the foundation? Or what?
All right. What we did was we started it just informally, and we followed the example of Ghana. Okay. I went to Ghana, and all the citizens are subsidized for heart conditions. Sudan, the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Ghana's is run by retired bankers. It's not government, it's an NGO. But the people on the board are retired bankers and people in the business world who are well respected. So with that kind of board, people know that they're not there to just
take your money.
Yeah. So we got that sort of board, and they've been very helpful. And what we're launching the foundation officially tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh. All right, but we've been working for about a year.
Okay.
And we've treated about 50 patients.
Wow. So how are you funded? Who's funding you?
We've been reaching out to people informally, WhatsApp,
organizations,
friends, and the response has been overwhelming.
Wow.
It is once people know it's for a good cause, they will give you money. They will give you money. First thing they wanted to know is First Cardiology. You people, you're already making money. Why should we give you money to treat poor people and all that? So we explained, when we do charity cases, we charge the foundation at cost, what it costs us to do the case. So there's no margin on it. It's whatever it costs us. And we've also been lucky. We've partnered with a foundation called VOOM in the US, which is a Nigerian foundation, but a lot of the people there are Americans. The American, foreign, doctors, nurses, all sorts of people who volunteer their time and come to Nigeria to do surgery. Okay. So we've partnered with them, and with the two of them, we've been able to really bring down the cost.
Okay. So I've been to First Cardiologist, and I wonder if your facility can take the crowd that would respond to free heart conditions.
No, we can't treat everybody.
I'm hoping that you're able to, partner other facilities where your people can use. There are other.
For example, you partner with the hospital in maybe Ikeja, and you can have some people go there. Do they all have to come to First Cardiology?
Yes.
That's a great question. Right now, we've partnered with Abuad in Ekiti, and we've done some cases there. Okay. All right, because Lagos is just one place. We've done some cases with Abuad in Ekiti, who also provided services at cost. Okay. So we just came there, did the procedures, free for those people. Some patients, it's subsidized. Or excuse me, some patients it's subsidized, but we try and just reach out to as many people. We intend to go out of Lagos. Next stop is probably Abuja. All right, Abuja would probably be the funnel for the north. And we want to go there and perform procedures there.
Now, what would be the criteria to pick the people you finally attend to, since you can't reach everybody?
Okay, it's two things. One is they need to have something. They have a cardiac problem. So that's easy. Clinical, we can make that diagnosis. And there are lots of people who need help, especially surgery or interventions. Then how to figure out if they can't afford it or not. Because, yes, some people will game the system. You have to see somebody driving a brand new
Mercedes and says that he can't afford.
Yes, trying to game the system. So we have partnered with a group who specializes in things like that. So they vet the people and verify and let us know that, okay, these people can't afford it. And then We try, but it's not a perfect system. But the key is, I'd rather treat somebody than not to treat.
It's kind of refreshing to listen to you because you're a Nigerian and you're trying to give back. And because we see a lot of people who want to jackpot. You've jackpot and you come back. And, and I like the choice of words you've been using. I've observed that even when you're talking about the insurance, that we're not there yet. So you didn't say, we don't have, it's horrible, we don't know. But you seem like you're optimistic. So do you really think this foundation...
There's faith in there.
Do you believe that this foundation would really... that we need more of you? Do we think, how do we get more people like you? How do we get more Nigerians like you? Those who have gone, because I have a theory that it's not about getting Nigerians not to leave this country. You can't do that. What you need to do is bring back those who have gone like you. Find a way to get them home because many of them are done. They're tired. They want to come home too, but they need a conducive environment. So what do you think we can do to get more people like you to do stuff like this to help Nigerians?
Okay, I can tell you this. There are quite a few of us, well, I'm no longer them now, but quite a few of my colleagues abroad who want to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the things you say is what bothers them: security, where to stay. Most of them, their kids have already gone to school, so they don't have that expense on their head anymore. So it's security, where to work. Most of the hospitals don't have the equipment they need. So at least I know now there's several hospitals being built in Nigeria. Private companies, equity
in
firms.
Lagos, not all there.
Well, it is, yes, they're in Lagos, they're in Abuja, they're in Port Harcourt. New ones being built that I'm aware of. Okay. There's Ekiti Abuad. It is amazing what Afe Babalola has done there. It is amazing what he has done there. The equipment and everything he has, it's actually amazing. It's, It was mind-boggling when I went there to visit.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. So there are people like that who spend their money back here and put it in healthcare. Now it's the professionals that is the problem. I'm actually working very hard on a system, and there are several of us. We have a group called DFC, Doctors for
Africa.
No, Doctors for, I don't know what DFC stands for again. No, Doctors for Progress. Anyway, something, yeah. Is all diasporan doctors who...
Doctors for Change.
Doctors for Change, thank you. When they see, I'm going to hear a lot about that, forgetting the C. When we've been thinking of how
to bring them home.
And quite a few people are coming back in different capacities, different specialties. Yeah. And I can tell you now, in cardiology, everything can be done in cardiology in Nigeria except heart transplant. We will get there shortly.
I heard they did one in Ibadan.
No, not heart transplant. No, kidney transplant.
Kidney. Oh, I thought, okay.
Not yet heart transplant.
And so that's so good to hear because sometimes we wait for government, but you are private people coming together, putting an organization, saying, you know what, this is you guys can come back. You're finding a way to get them to come back to Nigeria.
Yes, because we are committed, and government is a different ballgame.
Exactly.
Let me leave government alone.
Yeah.
That's a complex story.
Right.
But orthopedics, everything that can be done in orthopedics can be done here. A lot of people don't know all these things.
Imagine that.
Kidney transplant can be done here.
I've seen that firsthand.
Kidney transplant can be done here, orthopedic and heart.
Neurosurgery. Many of these things can be done here. All right, a lot of people don't know.
What's all the money now? The money is the problem. It's not like they don't know.
This is one reason why we've got
it's not free. No, the ones that are traveling out are going for whatever reason. It's not because we don't have the capable hands here. It's because they just feel they are more trusting of the system over there, that at least oxygen will not fail you. You will not be looking for oxygen when you need it. So that's why they travel.
You have NEPA. Your gen will break down.
Issues, exactly. Yeah. So they just prefer to go there. But we know we have. If there was a time during the COVID-19 now, my father-in-law did a surgery, a very major one. It was done here.
Okay, so what would be the minimum that you'd say a person must have, or totally free?
Benefit from this.
To benefit from this. You know, you were talking about some people would have to be subsidized. If you subsidize health for some people and you still have to find #1 million, that's not subsidy for them. So what would you say is the minimum?
Okay, the way we've done it so far, based on the recommendations from the group that helps us screen patients, those who can't afford, there's some people you know cannot, they can't even afford the test. You know they can't afford it. That's going to be completely free. Wow. That's, I mean, free to them. Between us and the VOOM Foundation, we found ways of trying to cover those costs. Yeah. We found ways of trying to cover. Because it's not like you're paying the surgeon. Most of the surgeons, most of the anesthesiologists, I have to mention the group that helps us, A3C, Abuad, all our professionals, first cardiology, we don't get paid for doing the charity cases. We don't get paid. So it brings down the cost. So there's a lot of charitable people around.
Doctor, any advice on how we can live to avoid, if this is actually avoidable? Because, you know, saying a person when no gets money, go know how you go keep yourself.
Exactly.
So that you don't get into some kind of problem that money cannot, you don't have the money to solve it. Exactly. So, and for those people also that have this high blood pressure, I noticed that a lot of them do not even take the drugs. They don't even know they have it. What are some of the things we can begin to do so that we just, prevent this?
Okay, that's a great question. Like I said, majority of heart attacks and strokes are preventable. Majority, not all, but majority are preventable. First thing, go for your yearly checkups, all right? And if they pick up things like diabetes, high blood pressure, they put you on the medications. Take the medications. Number one reason why people don't take their blood pressure medications, especially men, is it might sometimes affect your sexual functions. And that's why they don't take it. That's why, and they won't tell anybody, they just notice that there's some issues there and then they stop taking the drug. The next thing now is a stroke. And what I tell them is, after you've had a stroke, everything's not going to work. So you might as well figure out how to do this. There are things we can do. There are over 1,000 drugs for high blood pressure. We can find a combination that will get your blood pressure down. All right, so one is taking your blood pressure medications. 2, diabetes. The epidemic of diabetes, where many of us are overweight. We need to watch our weight, eat healthy. I used to weigh about 100 kilos. I now weigh, 78.
Wow.
And it's all this diabetes and things. And I was looking at the heart attack coming to me, and I said, okay, you better just respect yourself. So I lost weight, and it wasn't too difficult. You just reduce your portions, exercise regularly, walk. 30 minutes a day is all you need. 4 or 5 times a week. It really does help. So, and then that helps your sugar. Salt, hypertension. We eat too much salt in Nigeria. That's why we're one of the biggest hypertension capitals in the world.
Yes.
Nigeria is in the top 5.
Oh.
Let me give you an example. Recommended salt intake is 2 grams of sodium a day. All right? In England, the average intake is 4. And that's because there's a law that was passed about 15 years ago that restaurants and public food places can't add salt to the food.
Yes.
All right? You notice you go to England, the food doesn't taste so nice. So you add your own salt. Okay, in America, it's about 6 grams. In Nigeria, the average salt intake is 12.
Chineke.
So when a Nigerian says he doesn't take much salt, he's taking too much. Now, sources of salt.
Our food will not be tasty.
My mother-in-law will not eat my food, though. She will say, because you know, I'm thinking, it's too much salt for you.
No, you gradually reduce it. I don't say no salt. No salt is not possible.
Yeah.
But it might make you lose weight too because you can't eat. But hidden sources of salt.
This life.
Granuts, ekpa, cashew nuts, potato chips, plantain chips.
Auntie.
Those are hidden sources of salt that we don't realize. All right.
Ripe plantain.
Bouillon cubes and all these things, they're salty. So just reduce the quantity. I'm not saying stop.
Right.
Reduce the quantity.
Doctor.
Food will not be sweet.
No, why can't always say something? Now something will keep us. How can I die and now realize I stopped
Let
eating
it
jollof
kill
rice?
you when you're 90, not when you're 40 or 50.
Okay, I like that.
We have to wrap up. I think we need to bring you back, sir.
No problem.
Some of us need this lecture.
Tough
It's a nice lecture.
Regularly.
I like it. We need a reminder. We hate. Take fruits and vegetables. But this salt issue is very, very difficult to swallow. But it's all
But it's not difficult. You reduce it over time. If you just do it
Your
drastically.
taste will adjust.
Yes, your taste will adjust. And then salt will now taste not nice to you.
Yeah.
your friends will not come to the house and say, this your soup is not sweet though.
They should eat in their
They
house
should go
before
eat in
coming.
their house.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir. It was a
Doctor.
pleasure having you on the show. I think this foundation is an opportunity for many Nigerians. And I like the fact that private people have come together to support Nigerians. And we hope that more Nigerians like you and your friends can come together to find ways. So I'm happy, just in case you missed it. If you have cardiology issues, it can be solved in Nigeria. Orthopedic issues can be resolved. Yep. I think you said,
neurosurgery,
neurosurgery,
renal nephrology,
most specialties can be done in Nigeria. Yeah. Do your research before you can spend your hard-earned dollars. Our hard-earned dollars that should go to manufacturers to get equipment to help Nigeria. Don't you can use it to go and spend medical tourism when we can actually get it done here in Nigeria. That's all we can take on the show today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
Thank you.